without further ado, I want to go ahead and just get the webinar started. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and give our participants, our panelists, an opportunity also to share a little bit. Just as an FYI, this has been a really exciting morning because you'll see some, we're getting back to some type of normalcy, and you'll see us, in our daily day-to-day of what it is that we're doing and so forth. So I want to go ahead and just get this slide going, and let's go ahead and start. Now let's go ahead and just share a little bit. Jay, if you can go ahead and just share who you are, what you do.
Sure. Good morning, everyone. My name is Jay Jiggins. I'm the owner of Finesse Corporate Wellness, and we are a corporate wellness company that provides resort-style programs to hotels by providing games, fitness, team builders, etc. We work with employees as an employee program for businesses, and we provide webinars for them too. And then we also work with luxury residences, providing community events and running their fitness centers.
All right, thank you. And Daniel, I like your background. I'm gonna have to get one of those professional backgrounds.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Daniel Beira. I'm the owner of Creative Particle. We're a boutique video agency. Not like your typical video production company. We try to employ a strategy-first approach. We always help our clients understand why they need video in the first place and try to figure out what kind of results are they getting from those videos. And then from there, we kind of reverse engineer the kind of video that they need. We work with a lot of B2C and B2B clients, especially in the retail and e-commerce space. We specialize in live streaming and live stream shopping, product videos, as well as case studies. So that's in a nutshell who we are.
All right, thank you very much. And Carolina, I don't know if you can hear us. I know that you were actually dropping someone off at school, but if you can go ahead and just share, let me unmute you.
Okay, 1 second.
Yeah, you're unmuted.
Oh. Am I there in the video?
Yeah, you're
okay.
Here. You're unmuted.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is Carolina Montoya. I'm the owner of Unique Designers Cake. We specialize in custom cakes, and we have a line called Last Minute Cakes. So we're really excited to join and share with you what we're doing right now.
Right, and thank you. And thank you, Carolina. My name's Orlando Espinosa, and one of the things that we do is that we actually work with small businesses to help them scale and grow. All three of the panelists are actually graduates from last year's SBA Emerging Leaders Program. And my passion actually is information and resources. And we've done this presentation in the past when it comes to guerrilla marketing. And one thing that I really enjoy about it is that it allows you to use unconventional methods in order to ensure that you actually grow your business. And as you can see, guerrilla marketing, it's got two different types of spelling. It's either going to be with 1 R or 2 R's, and it's okay. But I wanted to give you a little insight to what guerrilla marketing is actually all about. So it's pretty much giving you an opportunity to generate a buzz and allows you to go viral with what it is that you're doing. Everybody knows that in this day and age of what we're going through, a lot of businesses that are actually taking more of a social distancing approach, and they're either working from home, their staff, their employees are also working from home. And this is why it's extremely important to start considering guerrilla marketing right now for your marketing efforts, because what it does, it actually engages and educates customers rather than sell to them. What you're doing is that you're bringing people into a conversation. We'll talk a little bit about that. And it's actually been proven to actually work for small businesses around the world. The one thing that you have to keep in mind is that this is also very inexpensive once you come in and start putting to good use your actual idea. So what is, the secrets of guerrilla marketing? One of the key things is making sure that you're committed, that you're present, that you're invested, that you're consistent. You have to be confident in what it is that you're doing, and be patient and measure results. What guerrilla marketing actually requires is a more thoughtful and strategic approach when it comes to your marketing plan. one of the key things that a lot of businesses do is that they're trying to figure out specifically what can they do differently in order to stand out from the crowd. So I wanted to go ahead, Jay. I know that, Jay, you're doing what you love, that you actually had to go out today and you have a meeting at 10 while practicing social distancing. But if you can go and share a little bit about, what it is that you're doing when it comes to your commitment to your own business, and also to what it is that you're doing about coming to grips with some of the marketing that you do. And let me unmute you. Yay, technology. Yeah, you're good.
Okay, good. Well, I think one of the things that we do with Guerrilla Marketing is that you never stop marketing, right? It's a constant thing. So networking and having cards with you at all times, making sure that you take advantage of those elevator pitches, for example, and always being ready to talk about your business is very, very important. Some of the things that we're doing is when we are on site with a paying client, or when my team are on site with a paying client, we've already secured that contract, but we're always looking for the next. So our instructors are on site, say at hotels, for example, and they're providing their fitness session or their game or whatever it is that they're providing. And at the end of that, they are talking to the guests that are in front of them and making sure that they are providing us with TripAdvisor reviews or Yelp reviews or whatever the review is. And they are actually incentivized to make sure that they get those reviews. The reason that is so important to us is because those reviews is what helps us sell to the next client. So I think that's one of the things that we do that's subliminal guerrilla marketing, so to speak. It's pulling in clients, not necessarily right there and then, but for the long run. And I think that's very, very important. Also, the same with incentivizing. For me, incentivizing your staff is part of guerrilla marketing, and making sure that they are your sales ambassadors. They work for the company, they want more work. And if they want that more work, then it's really important. Sorry, I'm going to step inside just so we don't hear the noise. If they want that more work, it's really important that they too are providing a constant stream of leads. So making sure that they have cards on them, making sure that they have literature about the company and are doing their best to bring in more work, and we make sure that we pay commissions for every contract that we secure, and recognize them for doing so.
Yeah, and just as an FYI, so you can see all of our backgrounds, guerrilla marketing is unconventional. I mean, you do what it is that you have to do in order to get your marketing done. One of the things that we've looked at right now when it comes to marketing is pretty much, to your point, Jay, is a lot of people in this day and age, they hit the streets in order to go out and get the message out there. For those of you that have actually seen a lot of people coming out and going and putting those flyers when they were on your car and so forth. So there's certain things like that. So thank you for sharing, Jay. Daniel, if you can go ahead and share, some of the things that we've discussed and that we've talked about when it comes to your business as well.
Sure. So one example that we have is a client of ours. We've been doing a few video projects for them. They are a travel arrangement company. They do for all the kids that go to Disney and Orlando for all the band competition and cheerleading competitions. We've done a lot of projects for them in terms of how to behave themselves at the theme parks. And recently, obviously, because of COVID-19, they wanted to get a few measures in place on how to start employing a little bit of cleanliness. And obviously, they were really hurting because travel has gone down a lot. Although they're trying to prepare themselves for it to ramp up again for the summer. And so they asked us if we can help them put together a PSA, an animated PSA explaining how to be, social distancing, washing your hands, how to have this sense of cleanliness. And so we realized, well, okay, that, their budgets are really tight. But we thought, okay, how can we best benefit from the situation where they get what they need and we can, walk away with something that is of value to us. So we decided, okay, let's do a barter. In exchange for providing you with this animated series of cleanliness videos, if you can introduce us to all your hotel partners, in terms of trying to get our foot through the door, that would be super beneficial to us. In fact, that's probably in the long term more value to us than sending them an invoice, right? So that's exactly what happened. They're going door to door to all their hotel partners out in Orlando, where, you know, we're based out of Miami, so it's a little harder for us to reach out to them. And once they have that, you know, referral of somebody they trust, it's a lot easier for us to have our foot in the door and offer them hospitality kind of videos, whether it's in-room signage or in the lobby area. So that's a technique that we kind of thought of, and we figured, you know what, it doesn't hurt, and it helps us in terms of marketing as well, and in reaching outside of the 305 area.
Right, exactly. And I think that's what it is. That remember, what guerrilla marketing does, it allows you to actually think for yourself. And we're going to talk about some of those things, you know, moving forward and so forth. This is your business, and the way that you handle your business, it's actually your decision. But I think that one of the same things that we look at right now, this commitment that you have to making sure that your business succeeds, that's pretty much what guerrilla marketing is. It's about that connection and so forth. I know that Carolina had to go in and drop you know, her son off at school. It's the first day back. Oh, you're back. So if you go ahead and we'll unmute you so you can go ahead and share. Go ahead, you're on.
Okay. Well, one of the things that we're doing right now is to interact a little bit more with our clients. So since all the COVID thing started, we start doing these do-it-yourself kits that are interactive. So we started doing like Zoom classes, and people is like interacting with us through Zoom. So that's been creating a lot of engagement with the clients, because like we are kind of solving a problem that how they can entertain their kids. For instance, for Easter, we did a kit to entertain the kids with a class, and also we have developed another different kind of do-it-yourself kits that they have also a follow-up, and they have a Zoom class, and it's a pretty good way that people is like, wow, these people is really thinking about what we're going through. You know, we have kids at home, we need to entertain them, and everything is like put in a package, delivered to their houses. So that's been very, very good for our company, and I think is creating a stronger relationship with our clients right now.
Right. Yeah. And thank you for sharing that. And we're going to go ahead and share some insight, just so that you can see. So the good thing about, you know, what you know, the panelists have actually shared is everybody is actually using their imagination. It doesn't cost you anything. It's about making sure that you brainstorm. It's about being creative. It's about involving others. It's about creating a plan. Pretty much the good thing about this is pretty much you're going to put your energy and enthusiasm behind an idea. I know we've got the traditional aspect of marketing where people are coming in and they do marketing by way of the old-fashioned way. But what guerrilla marketing actually allows you to do is to think outside the box. It's to come in and really use what it is that you have. When you first started your business, a lot of people, you know what, were so creative when it came to their business, and then they started making money. And once they started making money, they just got into the flow of pretty much, well, there's money coming in, so we're doing something right. So then what happens is that they stop using their imagination. They stop being creative. And the key thing to making sure that you actually have a great marketing impact that you have is making sure that you use your imagination. What you want is your customers, other people, to remember and say, oh, by the way, that was really good what it was that you did. So to Carolina's point, if you do a do-it-yourself, you know what, cookie decorating kit, and you start marketing that and you get people to talk about it, that would be ideal. To Jay's point, you know, about getting customers to actually come in and write a review when they're actually at the hotel, and giving some actual insight to their experience because of the programs that have been implemented, you know, and to your point, you know, Daniel, I think that one of the creative things is coming in and making sure that your imagination goes a long way, because you have to create that imagination when it comes to, listen, this is your business. If you decide that you have to go in and barter or partner with someone because you are coming in and highlighting what it is that they're doing, the main thing is that you have to be enthusiastic and you have to be mindful with what it is that you're doing. You cannot, you can't be isolated and you can't sit idle when it comes to marketing, and especially when it comes to guerrilla marketing, because it's pretty much giving you the necessary tools to create and to actually, you know, do something different. So let's go ahead and focus on the advantages, because I want to make sure that I get some feedback from all of you. The main thing about guerrilla marketing is that it does have its advantages because you can make it unique and memorable. It is cost effective. And you actually are engaging with customers in this day and age. If you want to build brand awareness, the main thing is that you have to let your customers take ownership of your brand. What do you mean? The thing is if people believe in your brand and what it is that you are doing, then it's going to assist and help you, because now these people believe what it is that you're doing. And the advantages is that what you've done is that you've actually started building relationships. And when people like a brand, I mean, it's what we do if we go to a restaurant, you know, or if we would go to the movies when they were open, we would actually be the spokesperson for, you know, that brand specifically. And it allows it to make it memorable. The reasoning being is because what happens to guerrilla marketing, the advantage is that, number one, it's cost effective, because a lot of times we're looking at budgets and what we're going to use and actually what we're going to implement. But the main thing that guerrilla marketing does, it allows you to compete against larger companies that may have more state-of-the-art creativity. But remember that in this day and age, you know, having a cell phone, we can do so many things. And a lot of us, I know that in this day and age, you know what, we're just trying to stay afloat and be creative. So the main thing we want to do is make sure that you take advantage of what's out there and so forth. And to Jay's point, if you can elaborate, it's really not costing you a lot to have your own staff come in and share, you know, their experience by way of writing an evaluation. So if you can elaborate a little bit more on that, Jay, I appreciate it. Let me make sure that you unmute.
Sure. Just in that, I mean, I think it's part of the employee process is that we go through the benefits of that and why that's so important. And having them share, as you mentioned, costs us nothing. It costs them nothing. In fact, they're going to earn money out of it. But it also, I think, when it's coming from people that work for you rather than from the owner themselves, I think employers are even more interested. The same as what Daniel was saying when he has a partner program. Excuse me just one second. When you have a partner program, which includes your employees, somebody else vouching for the company, I think it gets taken a little bit more seriously and they're more inclined to want to work with you. So it's something that we do from the hiring process. We explain how we work and how we would like them to help us market, making sure that your team have the tools. So often we employ people to do a job and that's it. And people will go above and beyond for you, whether they're employees or others, if they have the tools to do it for you. The other thing I think that's really important is having strategic partners, much like Daniel said, but you can't just meet people, explain your business and expect them to sell it for you. Everyone has a good heart. Everyone wants to help. In my experience, that's the truth. But if you don't set people up with the ability to help you, they won't do it because they're busy. So I think when I look for strategic partners or I meet someone that can help us as a company or I can help them, both ways, one of the things I will do immediately after meeting them is saying, here's an email I'm going to send you. This is how, if you're ever pitching our company, I would love you to pitch us and make it easy for them. It's templated. All they need to do is fit their name in the blank box and press send. If you make things easy for people, that's a way of guerrilla marketing and they will happily do it for you. But if they have to sit there and compose an email introducing you, etc., that takes creative power and time, they're not going to do it. So I think for me, the key thing is finding strategic partners, whether it's your employees or others, and making it easy for them by giving them the tools, whether that's cards, flyers, brochures, or a templated email.
Yeah, and thank you for sharing that, because I think that that's the main thing. It's the simplification. You know, sometimes we overthink, we overcomplicate when it comes to marketing, and the easier that you make it for people to share, because you know what, to your point, I do believe that people are willing to share. I do believe that people are coming in and they're going to market you because they believe in your brand, they believe in your product. How many of us, you know what, have shared a Facebook post without getting compensated, without getting paid for? So it's the same thing with the businesses, because I think that as business owners and as entrepreneurs, you have to make people feel welcome. If you do not make people feel welcome, they're not going to come in and actually help you build your brand, because you are taking ownership as opposed to allowing other people to take ownership of that. So thank you for sharing, Jay. And Carolina, I see you made it to the actual shop and so forth. So if you can go ahead and share a little bit about the advantage of some of the stuff that you do. Because listen, you're all over the place on social media. When I see you sharing videos and you given, you know what, even when you were baking the cakes and so forth, you know what, I kept seeing how you actually were using a lot of, you know, the actual, you know what, I call it get up, but the mask and everything to show, you know, your clients and customers that you were, you know what, working in a safe environment. You know what, to
Right,
that,
right.
you can share some of the advantages as well to what it is that you've been doing, you know what, to get other people to customers engaged with what you're doing.
Yeah, well, social media is such a big thing for us because, I mean, the product that we sell is very sellable in social media. You know, it's like we have that advantage. It's our best way to communicate and to engage with people. And then, so I show on social media our processes, and during all this pandemic, we have been showing them how we are handling our food, what are the procedures that we use in the mask, we're using face shields, gloves, and everything that gives them the message. We are taking care of the situation. We are handling things with, you know, extremely protection. So that makes people feel confident in our product. I have many clients calling and say, hey, we have been thinking of not doing anything, but we trust you guys, we know. And also we decided not to open the store anymore to the public. Everything is curbside pickup, so that way we can guarantee our environment, you know, to be like sealed and in you know, protected. So those things and that message is coming across through our, you know, social media and the engagement with them. Yeah. With the people, and doesn't cost us anything, you know. It's just because of them like commenting and giving us likes and stuff, like we are like getting that awareness with the customers.
Yeah, and one thing that taking advantage of, where I saw also during this time at COVID, that Carolina, what she started doing was that she actually started creating replicas, cake replicas of toilet paper when we were going through this shortage, and there's probably still a shortage. I know that she also was making cupcakes with the poop emoji. And then also, you know what, doing the Lysol cakes.
The Lysol.
And I kept seeing people sharing those posts and bringing it to life, because, you know, people identified. Remember that a lot of times your brand, when you come in and you start focusing on what the advantages are, a lot of your customers will come in and share with you and share with that. So Daniel, you and I, we were talking about, you know what, a couple of things, you know what, earlier. So if you can go ahead and just share some of that stuff that you've been doing, you know, especially engaging with the customers and so forth.
Sure. So, one of the things we did for a client of ours is they're a church by University of Miami, St. Augustine Catholic Church. And so since the whole issues with COVID, they had to close, and all the churches had to like really close their doors. Their issue was that they wanted to stay engaged with their parishioners and with their congregation. So what we did is we sat down with them, we brainstormed, and we created this whole like strategy on just being creative on ways on how we can take advantage of the tools and resources that are available now to still be engaged with their congregation. One of the things we did is obviously the most seen everywhere now is live streaming. So we were able to set them up with a live stream, set up in their church so that they can stream their worship sessions, their mass on a daily basis. And they would have as much as I believe 400 people attend per live stream. So we saw that as a great success for them. And then also, besides that, we helped them with a few other things. Like they wanted to keep their parishioners updated, keep the congregation updated on things that were going on. So we kind of developed almost like a talk show style, like a town hall, where it happened once a week. And the pastor there had a lot of great connections, so we were able to have remote interviews, like with Mayor Francis Suarez, with the Archbishop, and a few other key guests. So it kept the congregation entertained, also informed on what's going on, and it kept bringing up a lot of great content. And then, in order to have the congregation also involved, we helped them set up this whole weekly challenge where they would post once a week saying, okay, the challenge for this week for parishioners is, it was kind of during Easter. So one of them was, okay, decorate your door with Easter decorations and show us how you're celebrating Easter with your family. And so everyone was pouring in all these posts, and then we would go turn that around and make it into a nice slideshow and present it, at the end of the week. So it was almost this feedback loop of content that we're able to use. And at the same time, we kept the congregation engaged. And then the other thing too is, taking advantage of what we're using now with Zoom, we set them up with like prayer nights over Zoom. So, and they were really grateful for that.
Yeah. And I think that that's one of the main things right now, that there's nothing conventional about guerrilla marketing. It's whatever it is, it could be, putting together a talk show. And we'll talk a little bit about that, when it comes to the advantages. I just think that the main thing that we have to focus on right now, that, you are in the driver's seat, literally. And I think that one of the main things is do something that's memorable, because it's not the norm for a lot of people. Listen, I believe that I've seen things, and with the simplifications and the imperfections, I'm not looking for a perfect brand. I'm actually looking for someone that aligns themselves with pretty much, what my thoughts process and how I can assist and help. So those are things that you can definitely take advantage of. So one of the things that we start doing is that while you're doing that is you build an online community. You're actually getting people to start a conversation. You want to grab their attention. You want to get feedback. Listen, in this day and age, people are willing to give feedback. People are willing to give reviews. People are willing to buy in. But the main thing is that you want to convert them. Once people are converted, and once they are willing to come in and talk about your business and share, I think that what you start doing is that you start attracting ambassadors. And the easy thing is that when it comes to guerrilla marketing, what you start building is a community of people that believe in your brand so much that they actually take the platform, they take the center stage, and they start talking about pretty much what it is that you do. In the past, it was just us coming in and sharing marketing and people are looking at it like, oh, this is nice. But if you're not getting them to actually start asking questions and creating a dialogue, what you're doing is you're doing yourself a disservice, because like I said earlier, we all have an opinion. We all want to come in and share something. So you have to make sure that you allow not only your customers, your clients, but you allow other people to share. So Carolina, the thing that you were making mention of, the do-it-yourself, cookie decorating, I know that you did that. You actually had a Zoom call and a meeting, and you actually were working with a lot of families. But the one thing that I loved was the effect after that the family members were actually uploading and sharing pictures to your Facebook page from the kids. And the kids that were actually coming in and decorating the cookies during that time. And I think that one of the key things there is, like, I just started looking at those pictures and I'm like, wow, that's awesome. because people are willing to share when you invite them in the
Correct.
community. So elaborate
Yeah.
a bit on that.
Yeah, at that moment, you know, when we create that like direct contact with them, we felt, I mean, I think they felt that things matter for us. Like, you know, we're not just selling a product, we're caring about what's going on with the situation and the family, and we enjoy to see people like working with our product. So it was pretty clear, and it was very rewarding that they were texting us like look how they did this and posting the pictures, and it was pretty awesome. And we got sold out for the Easter in 2 days. We didn't expect that, because that was the first time we tried that product, you know. So it was just like our way to give a solution to what was going on. So I think the guerrilla marketing is also like thinking about the problem and find an easy solution. It doesn't need to be very elaborate. It's just a solution. Give your clients what they're looking for the easiest way possible, so that way they feel somebody's taking care of them too, you know?
Right. And keep in mind that a lot of times when it comes to, you know, getting people, you know, to talk and so forth, one of the things that we actually, when we were discussing about the presentation, what we wanted to do was make sure that we talk about the specifics of what you can do now while you are at home. I think that that's one of the key things, because there's so many different aspects to guerrilla marketing, from the ambient to the ambush marketing, you know, I mean, we normally do a webinar on guerrilla marketing that's, you know, about 2 hours that we've done. And we go into the aspect, but I think that right now it's because things are shifting and changing, and because we're talking about COVID, you know what, right now, Jay, I know that you've done this in the past, that you actually, you know what, were communicating and talking to customers directly when it came to the marketing. And I know that you actually had to shift, you know, a little, because everybody is shifting. I mean, COVID has caused us to shift, and COVID has caused us to start using our imagination and do something different, you know, but I know that traditionally, when you actually are and were, you know, at the hotels and coming back, there was a lot of dialogue, you know what, when it came to the aspect of marketing. If you can elaborate a little bit on that and so forth.
Well, I think two things shifted because of COVID. First of all, as I mentioned, one of our main client bases was hotels. Of course, they all closed down immediately, which affected our contracts. So what we did was give back. We decided to create online virtual classes that were complimentary for all of those employees that were put out of work in the hospitality industry, which was our direct client base. And that helped our client, our end client, which is the general manager or owners of these hotels, provide a free service for their employees, which made them look good. And in turn, the employee loves the hotel and the hotel loves us more, which of course creates loyalty, which, as everyone knows, retention is even better than obtaining a new client. So it helps with that. But what it also did is we then went out to the entire hospitality industry by being a part of different associations, such as the Hotel Association here in Greater Miami. We sent that link to the Greater Miami Hotel Association. So they sent that out to the entire hospitality industry, which means all those GMs and owners that were not previously working with us now look upon us favorably. So as the market comes back and we then cold call them, we're no longer cold calling them. It's now a warm lead. They've heard of us. They know us in a favorable light. That to me is where you really start to plant the seed and harvest later on. It's things like that. So that's one of the things that we did for COVID. The other things is we work with employers and provide an employee program. Well, that's great and it serves us well. But now with a lot of corporations cutting spending or halting service totally, that also affected us. But we have a database of all these actual employees that we've worked with. And one of the things that we try to maintain, we get a sign-in sheet, we get their emails, etc. So then kind of changing tactics and then going out to the employees directly or the individual directly by mass sending out emails. We had people come to us and say, well, my employer's not providing it, but I know my health is important, especially at this time. If my health's not important now, when is it? I could die of COVID if I'm not healthy. They came to us and asked for personal training one-to-one. So my trainers were able, some of them, to be able to be kept in work. I would send one-on-one trainers to these to these people, which is not normally the way we market, but it's actually been a revenue stream that's helped us keep my staff in work and helped us as a company still have work coming in. So changing tactics, simplifying things has been really helpful. And yeah, and making people understand the message as well, that yes, things are on hold, and yes, the world is changing, but now more than ever, what are your priorities? The health, this really shows what our company is all about, that if we do not take our health seriously, nothing else matters. We are literally, as a country, or we were under the impression as a country that we were all dying because we have underlying health conditions, because we're obese, because we're not well. So now's the moment to get well. So for us as a company, it's maximizing on that message and utilizing that to make people aware that this is something that's very, very important, and it can still be important. Even if your employer is not providing it, you can take it seriously. You can sign up, and we'll do everything in our power to prove to you, like Carolina was saying, that, you know, social distance. If we do it in person, our employee has a mask on. We suggest they do too. It's at least 6 foot apart if it's in person. And we are blessed now with FaceTime and Zoom. So most of our work has actually been done one-on-one Zoom training sessions, or one-on-one FaceTime sessions, or even small group FaceTime sessions. That's really how we use this market right now to change things and still work and use guerrilla marketing.
Yeah, and I think that that's the great thing about, you know, guerrilla marketing, is that there isn't anything that comes in and say, hey, this is what's going to work. It's trying through trial and error. It's, like I said, it's building that community. Because when we talk about community, we're not only talking about, you know what, and I highlighted the online community more so because I know that there's different aspects to guerrilla marketing, but what we wanted to do more so of what it is that you can do with this phase, what it is that you can do in order to start getting people to get buy-in. So when things do start opening up and people feel comfortable to go out of their home, they can actually come in and share and so forth. So Daniel, if you can go ahead and talk about some of the stuff that we were talking, you know, I mean, you do great when it comes to the online community, especially with what it is and the clients that you have. You can elaborate on that.
Yeah, so a few things that we've been doing. One of them for one of our clients. So we have a watch client, and obviously they have 70 retail stores, and of course in the last couple of months they've had to close all their retail locations, and they've furloughed all their employees. And for them, they had a very their best selling point was really giving the customers that in-person experience with their clients. And so one of the things that we did for them was we used to do a lot of videos for them in store, showing the experience, showing the watches, and a lot of the video that we do for them was actually in all of their displays. So we pivoted that, and we helped them to really engage more with their audience online, since they shifted all of their business to e-commerce. And we started filming more of like these more like sexier shots of the watches, really up close, help customers to really see the detail on these watches that, you know, they would only be able to see in person. So that's one of the things that we did to help them kind of start increase their engagement in new ways with their clientele online. And then also one of the things that we started to take advantage of in terms of creating that awareness of as a business ourselves that we're here, we started to understand what were the specific services that people were looking for online, in terms of live streaming, in terms of creating product videos. We're seeing a lot more people creating product videos for their Amazon stores. So rather than as a business just showing on our website the videos that we do and saying, hey, we're a production company, we decided, okay, let's really hone in on the specific services people need and start creating dedicated landing pages and educating them, saying, okay, yeah, not only do we do video production, but we do live stream shopping. And this is what that means. It means we create a whole live shopping experience for your customers where they can watch it on your site or they can watch it on Amazon, and they're able to buy the product that they're actually watching on their screen. So they're being entertained and educated at the same time. And we laid all that information out and an FAQ section just dedicated for live stream shopping. We're doing the same thing for product videos as well. Product videos are taking off for a lot of e-commerce brands because, you know, video is becoming more and more prevalent. So instead of letting them to figure out, okay, what's this whole product video thing, we're educating them and we're letting them know this is what it is, this is how we do it, and this is where it best fits into your business. And so all of these landing pages we're creating, and then we're also linking with, you know, social media ads so that we can provide the best ease of experience to potential clients to let them know, okay, I'm looking for this particular service. We'll lead them to it, and then we end it with a call to action to, you know, with a contact form. So we're really trying to kind of I don't want to say take advantage of the situation, but really understand the kind of opportunities that exist now more than they did 4 months ago. And we're really trying to hone in on those specific needs that new clients have now and really cater to that.
Yeah, and I think that that's one of the main things, you know, that we talk about is that when you start doing something different, to your point, you know, a lot of people right now, you have the 50-50. People that are going to go out into the real world and they're going to go to restaurants and they're going to go into shopping and so forth as the country continues to open up. But right now you also have 50% that they're not going to move from their home, that they're comfortable ordering online and having items delivered and so forth. But to your point, you know, my thought was, you know, imagine, you know, you as a business owner, inviting your clients to a conversation, you know, and coming in and building partnerships with other entities, because I think that's what's happening in this day and age. You know what? We need to build more partnerships. We need to build more relationships. And what, you know what, having a camera or having an iPhone or having a dialogue or a conversation, as we mentioned earlier, what you want to do is harness the power of the public, because, you know, if people do not know that your business exists, they're not going to buy from you. You can actually still continue the actual creativity when it comes to marketing and so forth. But for right now, one of the reasons why we titled this Guerrilla Marketing Right Now was to focus on where we are right now as a country, as business owners, because a lot of the marketing that we were doing has had to shift and change. And even when it comes to guerrilla marketing, that's actually had to shift and change, because what we're doing right now is we're building an emotional connection to the point where Carolina was talking, you know, parents being at home and having to do, you know, triple and quadruple duty, you know, tutoring their kids and not only tutoring their kids, but working on their own business or actually working for someone else, working from home, you know, while doing all the other things. So the idea was, hey, let's do something that's interactive that we can come in and get them away from the stress and do something that's going to be actually fun. Because I think that that's one of the things right now that as business owners, sometimes we may take ourselves, you know, too serious, but depending on the business that you're in, but the main thing is that you want to captivate people, because once you have them captivated and converted, what's going to happen right now with those relationships, people are going to remember. People are going to remember the people that were online, that were actually doing some webinars, and we'll talk about that in the next section. But I think that one of the main things that let's go ahead and just go to that, because I think that this is where I want to make sure that I'm mindful of time. But I think that this is where we come in and we start building those relationships right now virtually, so that when we have their attention, we can go into more of the conventional or unconventional aspects of guerrilla marketing. So right now, if you're not doing webinars, if you're not blogging, if you're not doing videos, if you're not being interactive, you know, to Daniel's point, if you're not doing live stream, you're not connecting with influencers, what you're doing is you're doing yourself a disservice. Because I get it. I understand that a lot of our businesses are a brick and mortar, but imagine right now that guerrilla marketing gives you permission to do something that's totally different. And I know that all three of you, you know, have been, you know what, updating content. I mean, even if your webinar or if you're not doing a webinar, but if you're not coming in and let's say bringing your clients to the conversation, what you're doing is that you're actually not taking advantage of the situation, because people are doing three things right now. They're standing in front of the refrigerator, deciding what they're going to eat. They're actually sitting in front of their television, watching or looking to see what they're going to stream, or they are in front of a computer or on their phones either researching on webinars, on actually coming in and looking at what's the next trend and so forth, or even watching live stream. I know that I've been doing that quite often when I'm not doing webinars. So this is where you can actually start being creative. And once we finish with this section, I want to show you some examples of things that have been done and so forth when it comes to, you know, guerrilla marketing. But Carolina, I know that you wanted to say something prior, but I really enjoy, you know, what some of the live streams that you've done, where you actually have even, you know, brought your clients into your kitchen and that you're showing them, you know, the aspect of what it does, you know, when you were decorating one of the 3D cakes or one of the cakes that you were creating and so forth. So I think that that's actually valuable, because then in essence, people are part of the conversation, you're answering, and then they actually take it viral for you.
Correct. And one, Orlando, to that point, I wanted to mention that we are doing something like educate a little bit our customers with our products. Or for instance, we just launched a video that I did for my kid, but I was like thinking, whoa, how you explain now that he's gonna be back to school, how you explain a little kid that how the coronavirus is gonna be, you know, transmitted, why you have to wear a mask, why you have to wear a face shield. So we use our products, we use icing, and I did a demonstration on a video, and it's getting very good
Responses?
comments. Yes, everybody's loving it, because it's like it's you're giving the kid the ability to see what's going on. What happened if you don't wash your hands? What happened if you give a bottle of water, you know, full of the icing? So this is like giving them the ability to see what would be if you were able to see the coronavirus. So this is a way for us to educate people as well with our products and say, hey, here we are, like we need to help you somehow in this way. So we create that, and that video has been like doing very well. Also, we create the coronavirus kit. That was the first one I launched, and it was to, you know, take it home. Kids were able to decorate their own coronavirus cake, but at the end, the message was, we are as a family together. We're gonna kill the virus. We're gonna, you know, eliminate it. So it's like how you explain in a fun way to a kid what's going on, because this is a complete different world. And then, yes, you have to sell products, but you know, you are giving a message. Our message is how you educate people also with your products. So that's a little bit of the shifting that we have doing, and it's working very good, and people is aware and is grateful, because it needs a little bit of creativity to do that, you know, and it's super easy for kids to understand now.
Right, exactly. And I think that your approach was more, let's say, focused with the parents and so forth, because I really enjoy that. Because imagine, you know what, when you go back to the new normal, or when you go back and you have your kids going to school, how do you explain that? How do you talk to them? How do you simplify it for them? Because, you know, there's a lot of people that actually have, you know what, their take on it. But I do believe that doing something like that, it's not, guerrilla marketing is not about selling. It's about building. It's about building a community. It's about building, you know what, opportunities when it comes to information and so forth. And mind you, keep in mind that not every aspect of guerrilla marketing is virtual. I want to definitely, you know what, highlight that. I just think that right now, for this day and age, a lot of these things are what's going to help you to start building on this, until once you come in and get to the stage back to where you were at, you can actually implement some of the other aspects of it. And I know that Jay, even, you know what, for you, I know that some of the stuff that you were doing, you know what, a lot of videos, I remember watching a lot of videos, what you were doing, you know what, within the yoga aspect and with the exercise and so forth, that you were just uploading that. You weren't selling, you were just doing that to help the community that were at home, because listen, mentally, this has affected a lot of people. So being able to share that message, you know what, I think, or those videos was ideal, because I was reading some of the comments and I think that it was just great, you know, when people are celebrating what it was that you were doing. So you can talk about some of that.
Yeah, and on that point, Orlando, one thing we also did is, you know, we're a fitness company, we're a games company, and we're a team building company. And one of the things in this COVID, like you mentioned, people still want to have some fun. So we created virtual quiz nights for whether it's just every Saturday night these people want to do it, or whether it's for birthday parties. We came up with different themes. So for some of our existing clients that we had, mostly the employer programs, they would take us on, and not for their employees, it was their families and things, but they would hire us to be the host, where we would host a Zoom quiz night on a Saturday, which we would theme. And it might be like, one week was everyone needed to dress like pirates, then everyone had to dress like nurses or doctors, and it became really fun. And we do these different things for companies or even individuals. If you want to have a birthday party, for example, right now, there's not a lot you can do. So we do drinking games, we would do quiz nights, different things like that. And that's to the general public, you know, that's just to anyone. And we were getting a little bit of work through that too. People calling us and saying, I have a birthday party, it's my daughter's 21st, we want to do something fun. They invite their entire family and friends, and we'd have 50 people on a Zoom, all doing some kind of fun drinking games or quiz nights or stuff like that. So our team building and games experience came onto a virtual platform, and that's also worked, and something I think a little creative and different. You know?
Yeah, and thank you for that, Jay. Just want to let everybody know that also, once the webinar is over and done with, Brianna will be sending the presentation out. So Eddie, thank you for asking, but we will be sending out the presentation, because there's other aspects of it that I also wanted you to have, everyone that's on the call or on the Zoom meeting as well. Daniel, I know that last year you actually were putting together, you did a workshop, and you were talking about the value of video. And I know that for a lot of us as business owners, going back to the traditional, and I apologize for harping on that, but I think that right now, because things are changing, we need to look at this thing called virtual and making sure, because listen, I am still a believer of the networking, of the face-to-face, the meetings, the conversations, and building on that. And I think that one of the key things right now is that, because this has shifted and changed, we have to shift and change. We actually have to pivot our business as well. So if you can elaborate a little bit on that, so that we can go ahead, because I'm looking at the time. I just want to be mindful of the time as well.
Sure. So yeah, like Orlando was saying, last year we did a workshop. It was an in-person workshop talking about how you can use video to help boost your sales. Naturally, you know, this workshop could also just be done virtually. And it wasn't about selling to anybody who attended. It was really educating them. And I think people really appreciate that. People really appreciate when you can, you know, give something freely like that of value. And it was really talking about the basics. And I think that's something that, you know, when we're passionate about what we do and what we do for a living, and, you know, in our own right, we're experts in it, we can freely give that information in a workshop, and that passion really shows. And if we can really just talk about the basics, for instance, if Jay did a workshop on how to stay active at home while quarantining, what are the best 5 stretches, you know, or what are the best 10 stretches that you can do to just keep your body warm, keep it active. You know, there's so many people that would appreciate that. And it's not going to be an exchange for money. It's really, hey, sign up for this webinar, and you have their email. And so later on, you can give them more information, more education. And it's this kind of, in a way, it's an indirect soft sell, because eventually they'll see that kind of value that you offer them, and you'll start to position yourself as this authority in your own space. And so naturally, they're going to want to go to the person who gives that kind of information freely and is able to provide that insight and that education. And before you know it, you'll have people signing up for your service as well. So, you know, we provided that video workshop. We're thinking of doing one again soon for live streaming. And it's really going to be about, you know, how can you take advantage of live streaming, right? And a lot of people don't know the kind of things that you could do with live stream, you know, live stream video, and the different ways that you can apply it to your business. So it's really about offering that education and really going to the basics. You know, sometimes being in our business, we take for granted what's so simple that we kind of have to take a step back and think, you know, what are other people not doing that we can help them with, and we can we can provide guidance, and we can provide the simplest of directions to help them in their quality of life, in their convenience, or in their peace of mind through some kind of a virtual workshop.
Yeah, and I think that that's one of the main things right now, that because we are living, you know what, in just different times. And I believe that right now it's just using that creativity and giving back, because we all identify with that and the value of that. And what I wanted to do with the next couple of slides was just to show some examples of how, you know what, guerrilla marketing, what it actually is, it's all about. I know we talked a lot about the virtual aspect of it, but if you look at the simplification, you know, it's, you know what, when the Superman movie came out, you know, in an elevator, just coming in and the creativity of the elevator opening up, and you know what, looking at the aspect of what it looks like. Nikon, you know, one of the airports, you know, you're walking the red carpet and you look, you know, at an image of a photographer, you know, taking pictures of yourself. These are the things that make it memorable. This is actually one of my favorites. You know what, even having something like this, you know what, a USB, you know, Alzheimer's, you know what, an eraser, your memory, save them. You know, as a business owner, what you want to do is that you want to create things that are memorable, so that people can come in and actually follow and share and give and make them your spokesperson. You know, this was actually one of my favorite videos that came out, was Dollar Shave Club, when they got guerrilla marketing down pat. But I do believe that this right now is one of the most, you know what, for me, because I signed up, and after I signed up, I'm paying, you know, $9.99 a month for blades that I wasn't even using, you know, and it accumulated. But I think that this was one of the first aspects of having something that went virtual. And this was another really good one. You know what, one of the radio stations, you know, free air guitar, please take one. And what guerrilla marketing is, it's just creativity. It's just coming in and doing something that's unconventional, that people aren't doing. You know, Krispy Kreme, you know, if you notice what Krispy Kreme does, is that Krispy Kreme comes in, and when that red sign is up, you know, that neon sign is actually up, people actually stop to come in and buy the donuts, or they make a phone call. Hey, listen, you know, the light's up. Do you want? And I think it's something that simple that you can actually get a message out there to your people. This is another one that I think it's hilarious. To all those who use our competitors' products, happy Father's Day. You know what? And I'll leave that there, just because I think that one of the key things is be creative, be spontaneous. And if you look at the ice bucket challenge, that went virtual, and people were actually throwing ice on them, you know what, to bring attention, you know what, to ALS. And I think that that's one of the things that we look at. We are willing as individuals to share when we believe in a product or in a service. We are willing to come in and update and upload, you know, and if you look at, you know, Facebook last year, they had the Facebook 10-year challenge. And this was actually one of my favorite ones that they shared, was this challenge, 2009 and 2019. And I think that we might have to shift and change this one, you know what, but it's those simple things that people were willing. And I never saw so many people actually going up and posting their images and their pictures from 10 years ago in 2019. And this one, I used it just because I think this is hilarious. I always say that this was the Palmetto. You know what, 10 years back then and 10 years now, nothing much has changed. So the overall goal, I think that one of the things that we want you to do as entrepreneurs, is as business owners, is to make sure that you understand. I mean, I added, you know, some of the suggestions that Daniel, you know, what talked about and so forth. So when you do actually have the presentation in hand, but I want to leave you with this last thing, that as an entrepreneur, a guerrilla entrepreneur, you know, people watch videos, they read, they observe, they ask questions, they listen, they do things differently, and they think outside the box. And one of the things that we would encourage you is just the way you do business. We're all looking at different ways to market. You know, now is the time to be creative and to start thinking like a guerrilla entrepreneur, because this is the success of your business. It relies on your creativity and what you offer and what you bring to the table. So I looked at the time, and I want to make sure I'm mindful. I know a lot of people were saying that they had to log off and so forth. I know that Jay actually had a meeting that she had to go to, but I want to go ahead and give you Carolina and Daniel, you know what suggestion would you give to the business owners right now when it comes to their marketing. So if Daniel, if you can go ahead and go first.
I think, definitely take some time every week to just block out everything and give yourself a good maybe half an hour or an hour of just thinking creatively. Your only limitations for really marketing your business are your creativity and what you can think of. Yes, there's a lot of playbooks and guidelines that we should follow and best practices, but really, you are your own boss when it comes to your business, and at the same time, you are your own marketing director, right? And so try different things and see what works and what doesn't. Try in social media and just really be out, like the last slide said, just think outside the box in terms of what can really work for you. There's no right or wrong answer in terms of creating something memorable, in terms of engaging with your audience. I think the biggest thing is to really listen and understand what your customers' behaviors are at this point in time, and react to that. And really, the biggest thing is try to make your business be as human as possible, because at the end of the day, that's who you're serving, right? And so that's what's always going to be memorable, and that's what's always going to help people decide who they're going to go with, is whoever they connected with the most.
Exactly, and thank you for that. I think that it's all about connection and relationships, and that's the value of what it is that guerrilla marketing actually brings to the table. Carolina, so your final thoughts.
Okay, so I'm super agree with Danny. Just want to add something else, that is the time also to think about yourself. Like maybe the situation forced you to shift in a way that you end up doing something else. Like in my personal experience, I'm an architect, and 10 years ago, I shift to cake decorating because the situation forced me to do, and I'm using my same skills of designing and the way that I used to do scale models and I used to do architecture. I said, well, we're gonna do edible scale models. So is this a perfect time to look inside you, see what the strengths you have, what are your talents, and maybe try in another industry and be successful in that. So that is what is thinking out of the box means. You have to be successful and be very diligent in what you're doing, and don't stay there just because that's what you have. Maybe you can use your resources of your company in another industry. Maybe you need to create another product, but just think what are your strengths and what are your capabilities, and then use it and convert it into the new situation you have. And for my experience, everything has worked very well, from architecture to baking. And I love it. And now it's a little bit easier for me to adapt because I'm just changing for products. Before I changed my life. So that's the way to reinvent yourself, reinvent your business, and be creative all the time.
Yeah, and I think that that's the main thing that right now that we wanted to actually just share. Now's the time to just be creative. I know a lot of businesses that have actually had to shift when it comes to their marketing, but I think that one of the main things is give yourself permission to actually do something totally different. And when I say different, is look at the trends, look at what's happening within the industry, but be creative. I mean, dialogue with your clients, your customers, have a conversation, make it interactive, let them come in and communicate, because once this is over and done with, what we covered today was just one small aspect of guerrilla marketing. But there's so many other things, as I mentioned before, when it comes to the experimental, when it comes to the ambush marketing, when it comes to, every other thing that's out there and that's available. But what we want to make sure is that we provide you an opportunity to actually think outside the box. Don't sit idle. Please do not sit idle, because it's going to be detrimental to your business. But look at what other businesses owners are doing. And listen, you started a business because you had that passion, you had that commitment. Well, you know what? It's the same passion and commitment now to be creative and to probably consider doing something different when it comes to your marketing. And this is what guerrilla marketing actually does. And Carolina, your Instagram handle is
I'm sorry?
Your Instagram handle, what is it? It's
Unique Designers Cake.
Unique Designers Cake. Thank you for that question, Stacy. And you'll see some of the great cakes that are there. Carolina's actually made some really great cakes for me as well. And I think that that's one of the main things right now, that you build those relationships and ask questions. And listen, please don't sit idle. This Thursday, we actually have a workshop that's going to be The Government is Still Buying. So we're going to talk about aspects of the government and so forth, and what we're doing. And I think that that's one of the main things that right now, this is a shift, but this is an opportunity to shift. And this is also a great opportunity to be creative. Don't feel like you have to go and navigate this by yourself. Have conversations with other people. I know that, Carolina calls me, Daniel, and Jay, and all these other small businesses that I work with, because I think that one of the things that we're business owners, we're South Florida. We're in this together. We've been through hurricanes. We've been through so many other things. But the one thing that we don't do is that we don't stop creating, and we don't start, we don't sit idle because we can't. So thank you for your questions. Thank you for your time. I know we went over a little bit, but if you can join us on Thursday morning, 9 a.m., The Government is Still Buying. We have a great webinar set up for you. So thank you, Brianna, for putting all of this together. Thank you to the SBDC for actually helping us out and so forth, and take advantage of the resources. And thank you, Daniel, Carolina, and Jay for being part of this. And if we don't have any other questions, enjoy the rest of your day.